Since we have. Okay. All right. So hi guys again. So today we're going to do a warm up using adjectives to describe people. I have some adjectives here on the left and on the right. We're going to make sentences to talk about what are people like who usually have these characteristics. We can use always, never, and hardly ever. I don't know if you can see, but I put some sentences in the chat, but I'll give some examples. So for example, someone who is reliable never lets you down. Or someone who is affectionate always loves to give hugs. Or it could be about a specific person you know. My friend Bruno, who is very persistent, never gives up. Okay, so we're using one of these adjectives and maybe one of these adverbs to create a sentence. So, someone who is reliable, what are they like? What do they do? Do you know anyone who is reliable? What are they like?
Reliable.
First of all, do you remember the definition of reliable? We saw that word the other day.
Yes.
Someone who is reliable is someone who is trustworthy. You can trust them. You can depend on them.
Okay. Also, someone is reliable. Maybe is confident.
Uh-huh. Okay. Good.
Confident.
Someone reliable always I don't know how to say cumple his word.
Always does his work or always finishes his work.
Okay.
Good. Good. Okay. How about someone who is outgoing? What do they do? What are they like? Do you know anyone who is outgoing?
Yes. I have a friend who is always outgoing because he tried to make parties for everything. And told us many bad jokes.
Yeah. I have a friend who's very outgoing as well. And she always likes to meet new people and make jokes and sometimes be the center of attention.
Yeah.
Okay, what about someone who's very generous? Do you know someone who's very generous? What is someone who's generous? What are they like? What do they do?
Someone who is very generous, always share food to street people, maybe.
Right. Right. Someone who's very generous always shares food with strangers or with anyone.
Strangers, yeah.
Right. Someone who is generous will hardly ever say no if you ask them for a favor. Or maybe they will never say no. Okay, what about someone who is easygoing? Do you know someone who is easygoing? What are they like?
My dog. My dog, who is very easygoing, always run to the street with me.
Okay, runs on the street with you. Yeah, someone who is easygoing will hardly ever be picky.
Yeah.
You know, they're just kind of okay with whatever. They always go with the flow. That's another expression, go with the flow, right? They're hardly ever picky. Oops, sorry, picky. Mhm. Okay, how about someone who is persistent? What are they like? Do you know anyone who's persistent? What do they do?
Have you ever failed in his her life?
Right, they hardly ever fail. Just keep trying until they succeed.
Always try to say go on or carry on.
Right, they always say, just keep going, go on, carry on, you'll get it. Mhm. Good. What about someone who is, oh, sorry, Angelica.
No, it's a person that hardly ever achieve his or her goals.
That hardly ever or that usually? Because we need
Usually, sorry.
yeah. Because hardly ever means almost never.
Okay.
Okay, someone who is sensitive. They're very sensitive. What are they like? What do they do? Do you know anyone who is sensitive?
They usually cry.
Okay, someone who is sensitive usually cries.
Yeah.
Also enjoy arts like music or paint or any kind of art.
Right, someone who is sensitive usually enjoys art. Good. Okay. What about someone who is reserved? What are they like? What do they do?
Someone
They are quiet.
They are quiet. Hi, Rocio. They are quiet. They're usually quiet.
hardly ever share his feelings.
They don't share their feelings. They hardly ever share their feelings. Good.
They hardly ever go out with friends.
Okay, maybe
They prefer to stay at home.
Good. Okay. What about someone who is charming?
It's a magnetic person. Everybody wants to be close to him or her.
Someone who is charming, hardly ever someone drives mad.
Someone what?
Drive mad. O los vuelve locos.
Oh, someone who is charming hardly ever drives you mad. Okay.
Someone who is very charming, always smile.
Always smiles. Good one. Yes. Okay. Someone who is affectionate. Do we understand the meaning of affectionate? Yes.
Yes.
Someone's kind of like.
Someone who is affectionate, they always prefer to give hugs
Right, someone who is affectionate always likes to be hugged.
Someone affectionate is always warm.
Yeah, someone who is affectionate is always warm. Great, good. So talking about these words, do you have people in your life that you identify with these characteristics very much? Maybe your partner, your children, your boss, your friends?
Yes, friends, colleagues,
My wife.
boss.
Eileen.
Tell me more. What are they like?
My boss is easygoing.
Your boss is easygoing. That's nice. Good, cool.
My wife always is always sensitive.
Your wife is sensitive. Okay.
My mom is a person very sensitive.
Your mom is very sensitive, a very sensitive person.
A very sensitive person.
My older brother is really reserved.
Your older brother is really reserved. Okay. Good. Good.
My boss is persistent.
Your boss is persistent. Very good. Wonderful. Okay. So today's a review day. Today we're gonna review Unit 57 and 58, which are about relative clauses, okay? So we're gonna review both things, okay? And kind of look at it at a more advanced level a little bit. So first, let's talk about some grammar, okay? So if you were absent either yesterday or the day before, this is a perfect review for you. Also, you might want to go back and do the exercises in Unit 58 and 57. Okay, so relative clauses. First of all, what is a clause? A clause is part of a sentence. And a relative clause is a part of a sentence that provides more information. We have two types, okay? On the left here, Unit 57, we talked about defining relative clauses. This defines or clarifies or specifies who or what the subject is. This gives essential information. You can't leave it out. For people, we usually use who, and for things, we usually use that. Now, on the right, we have non-defining clauses, which we studied in Unit 58. Non-defining clauses do not define, they just give extra information. It's non-essential information, like bonus, extra, by the way, extra. For people, we usually use who, and for things, we use which. And we use commas to set apart the clause. So this is from your book here. Again, reviewing on the left, defining clauses. We have two examples. She'd like to meet someone who is kind. I'm looking for a job that I'll enjoy. So again, for people, we use who. For things, we use that. On the right, we have non-defining relative clauses. We have two examples. My friend, who is reliable, is looking after my cat. My town, which is by the sea, is beautiful. Again, for people, we use who. For things, we use which. Notice here in the non-defining clauses, we use commas to set apart the relative clause. And when we read it, when we speak it, we kind of change our voice a little bit. Did you see how I did that? My friend, who is reliable, is looking after my cat. So it's like a little extra information. Also, by the way, if you want to go for a little more advanced level, try something new, you can try using some other words when you create a relative clause. You can use when or where or whose or why. Okay, so let's look at some examples. We're going to look at examples of both the defining and the non-defining. First, the defining. Let's see, a volunteer. Can I have Alejandro? Can you read the sentences on this page?
Oh, yes. Examples of defined relative clauses. I'm looking for a secretary who can use a computer well. Next.
Yes, go ahead.
She has a son who is a doctor. We bought a house that is 200 years old. I sent a letter that arrived 3 weeks later. Oh. Okay. Continue
Good.
with the next part.
Yes.
Okay. The people who live on the island are very friendly. The man whose son is my brother. The camera that costs 100 pounds is over there. The house that belongs to Julie is in London. Oh, okay.
Good. So sometimes it helps if we can identify the subject in these sentences. This helps us kind of understand it. So the house that belongs to Julie, that's one big subject. The camera that cost 100 pounds, that's a big subject. The man who phoned, that's one big subject. The people who live on the island, that's one big subject. Okay. I sent a letter that arrived 3 weeks later. That's one big subject. Or it's, in this case, it's the object of the verb, but that's the relative clause part. We bought a house that is 200 years old. This part all goes together. She has a son who is a doctor. That part is all one thing. I'm looking for a secretary. Oops. For a secretary who can use a computer well. Okay, so I'm identifying the thing that I'm talking about. Remember, a defining clause gives you specific information, essential information. That's why I wrote the word specifically here. Okay. All right. We are going to now do an activity just real quickly to review defining relative clauses. Okay, I'm going to put you with a partner, and let's see, this is my first time doing this, so we're going to do a little experiment here. I want to try to put you in a breakout room and have you do this with a partner. Okay, but I need to make sure that you can see the slide. All right, so let's see if this works. Do you know if I put the image in the chat, can you still see it? Do you know?
I can hear you.
I can, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna put the image here in the chat so you can open it on your computer, okay? I'm gonna put you in a breakout room with a partner. You need to do this exercise together. Make the sentences using who or that with these ideas. All right? Okay. I'm going to put you in breakout rooms together. Just a second. There we go. What
Teacher, I shared the screenshot.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Now, let me
Now,
see.
now I need to put you back in the room. Okay.
No, can you share us?
You
with
can't
the
see
chat?
it, but can you open it from the chat?
Oh no. I have
No.
a screenshot. I have a screenshot. Can you send me to the break room, please?
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Trying. Wait, I don't know how to put you in the.
Done, Katie.
Did that work?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, hi again, guys. All right, so let's check our answers real quick now. First one, Helen works for a company that makes furniture. The second one, I'm gonna randomly call somebody's name, okay? So be ready. Number 2, Rocio.
The movies is about a girl who has stayed. No, I don't know.
Okay, Angelica.
Who runs away from home.
Good. The movie is about a girl who runs away from home. Perfect. Number 3, Jonathan.
What happened to the pictures that were hanging on the wall?
Perfect. Okay. Number 4, Noemi.
A mystery is something that cannot be explained.
Wonderful. Number 5, Alejandro.
Yes, I hear it's a good hotel, but I don't know anyone that who has stayed there.
Yeah, who? Good. Okay, number 6, Rocio.
Yes, history is the story of things that happened in the past.
Wonderful. Number 7, Angelica.
Albert Einstein was the scientist who developed the theory of relativity.
Good. Developed. Okay, Jonathan, number 8.
It seems that Earth is the only planet and can support life.
That can support life. Good. Earth. Earth is the only planet that can support life. Wonderful. Okay, that's easy. So we can use who and that in defining clauses. So now real quick, let's go move on to examples of non-defining clauses. Let's see. Noemi, can you read these examples, all of them?
Yes. My boss, who is very nice, lives in Manchester. My sister, who I live with, knows a lot about cars. My bicycle, which I've had for more than 10 years, is falling apart. My mother's house, which I grew up in, is very small. Yesterday, I called our friend Julie, who lives in New York. The photographer called to the Queen, who looked annoyed. Last week, I bought a new computer, which I don't like now. There is a new Chinese restaurant in town, which is great because I love Chinese food.
Wonderful, thank you, perfect. So in these ones, when we identify the subject is very small actually. Remember in the other ones, it was like a big subject, a big thing. Here it's just this, right? Here it's our friend Julie called to our photographer called to the Queen last week. I bought a new computer. There's a new Chinese restaurant. So it's just a small subject, right? And then the relative clause, the non-defining relative clause is this part that goes between the commas, right? There's little commas here. And so that is the extra information. That's why I put here on the right, by the way, because it's just like a little extra, by the way, little extra information, non-essential information. Okay. So that's the relative clause. All right, so we are going to do another little practice here to practice non-defining relative clauses. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. And I'm going to do my best here to put it in the chat. Putting it in the chat. And in case you can't see it, I don't know if that worked last time, so I'll put it in the WhatsApp, I guess, as well, just in case. Okay, so now you have it. And again, I'm gonna do the same thing. You're gonna work with your partners. Okay, I'll give you about four minutes to work with your partners. What you need to do this time is combine the two parts of the sentence. You can use who or which. So for example, Catherine is very friendly. She lives next door to us. Probably we're going to use who here. Catherine, who lives next door to us, is very friendly. You see? Now, tricky, a little bit more advanced. There are two sentences here that require where or whose. Okay, so that's a little bit more advanced now. There's going to be two more advanced questions on here. Okay, so you need to combine the two ideas using a non-defining relative clause. All right, so I'm sending you to your breakout rooms now. Okay, welcome back. Did you guys have a chance to finish?
Not
Not
all.
quite?
Yes.
That was complicated.
Yeah, okay. All right, well,
That
we'll try
was
to figure
tricky.
little tricky, okay. We'll try to figure it out together now. I'm not gonna call on anyone. I want you to volunteer to answer. Okay, so I did the first one for you, right? Catherine, comma, who lives next door to us, comma, is very friendly. All right. The second one. Do I have a volunteer to do the second one?
Where me?
Okay. Go for it, Alejandro.
We stayed at the Park Hotel where a friend of ours recommended this hotel.
Where a friend of ours recommended. I don't think where is the best option for this one.
Who?
Not who.
Okay.
Can I try?
Yes?
What stay where a friend of us recommended at the Park Hotel? No, sorry.
No. Okay, let's think of this as just the Park Hotel as a thing. Let's think of it as a thing, not a place.
Which
friend of us?
which a friend of us recommended?
Park Hotel is where a friend of ours recommended.
Okay, no more guesses. So we're going to use a which. We're going to use a which.
Okay.
We stayed at the Park Hotel, comma, which a friend of ours recommended, period. So this one, the relative clause goes just at the end of the sentence, at the end. We stayed at the Park Hotel, which a friend of ours recommended. Now, there could possibly be another option, which is we stayed at the Park Hotel where a friend of ours recommended we stay. It's a little repetitive. Where a friend of ours recommended we go. Possibly. If you want to use where, it's a little bit awkward. I think which is better. All right, the next one. Anyone want to volunteer? Go for it.
I will try. We drove to the airport, which was not far from the city.
Perfect. We drove to the airport, which was not far from the city. Perfect. There is a comma there. We drove to the airport, comma, which is not far from the city. Perfect. All right, the next one with Lisa. Anyone who wants to volunteer, you can go for it.
Lisa, who jobs involves a lot of traveling, is away from home a lot.
Lisa, what was the word you used?
Who?
Actually, we should use
It's
who.
whose, no?
Aha, whose. Lisa, whose job involves a lot of traveling, is away from home a lot. So we're going to use the possessive. We're talking about her job. It's hers. So it's Lisa, comma, whose job involves a lot of traveling, comma, is away from home a lot. Good. Ooh, I just realized, let's see if anybody finds my mistake. I just realized I made a mistake somewhere. We'll see if you catch my mistake. Okay. The next one about the new stadium. Anyone who wants to go?
A new stadium which will hold 900 spectators. Oh no. No, sounds weird.
You could do it that way. So this is an interesting point that either part could be the relative clause, right? So it could be the new stadium, comma, which will hold 90,000 spectators, comma, will be finished next month. Or you can switch the information if you want. It could be the new stadium, comma, which will be finished next month, comma, will hold 90,000 spectators. So the information in the relative clause, it doesn't matter which one it is, really.
Okay.
All right, the next one about my brother in Alaska. Any volunteers? Go for it.
Alaska, where my brother lives, comma, is the largest state in the US.
Good. So this one we're using where. Very good. So you could be Alaska, where my brother lives, is the largest state in the US. Wonderful. All right, next one about our teacher. Do we have a volunteer?
Our teacher, who I have forgotten her name, was very kind.
Okay, there's a mistake in your sentence, but it's because this is partly my mistake. I said there was only 2 sentences, but it's actually 3. This sentence requires whose as well. So that was my mistake. I said 2 sentences, but it's going to be 3 now. Our teacher, comma, whose name I have forgotten, comma, was very kind. This one's difficult. Our teacher, whose name I have forgotten, was very kind. That one's a little bit more advanced. Again, this is possessive, whose, because it is her name. It belongs to her. Good. All right, and the last one about the museum. Any volunteers?
I have a question in that because I use where.
Yes, we can use where in this one. Very good.
Okay. Well, we enjoyed our visit to the museum where we saw a lot of interesting things.
Perfect, that's right. So this one is just at the end of the sentence. We enjoyed our visit to the museum, comma, where we saw a lot of interesting things.
Okay, thank you.
Good. All right, those were a little bit more tricky. So the next step is a common confusion when we're studying this topic is what's the difference between a defining and a non-defining relative clause? For example, look at these 2 sentences I have here. It's the same sentence, only this one has commas and the other one doesn't. Let's take a minute to read those. My sister, who works in a hotel, got a promotion at work. My sister who works in a hotel got a promotion at work. What's the difference in meaning?
Maybe in the first it's because the relevant is about the promotion, no?
Okay.
And works in a hotel is about an extra information.
That's true. This is extra information, not the most important information. The most important information is that she got a promotion at work. But there's more than that, a little bit more than that I want to talk about here.
Okay.
It also helps if you listen to how I read it. Notice that the way that I speak it is different. The first one, my sister, who works at a hotel, got a promotion at work. The second one, my sister who works at a hotel got a promotion at work. You see, when I read the second one, I make a break here. And when I read this one, I separate this information. Okay, so any other guesses about what the difference is? Do you understand some kind of difference between these two sentences? Before I tell you.
I think because your intonation, there is like a difference in the first one. The most important information is my sister got a promotion at work. Your intonation was like more powerful. And in the second one, the first part was stronger.
Good, okay. Right, so in the second sentence, I am, just to be clear, first of all, the second sentence is a defining relative clause, and the first sentence is a non-defining relative clause. In the second sentence, I'm telling you which sister. I am clarifying or defining or specifying which sister I am talking about, because this gives a little bit of an implication that maybe I have multiple sisters. I have multiple sisters. I have one sister who works in a hospital, one sister who works in an office, one sister that works in a hotel. Today, right now, I'm talking about the one that works in a hotel. My sister that works in a hotel got a promotion, not the other one. So that's what I mean by a defining clause. I am defining, clarifying which sister I'm talking about. Whereas in the first sentence, there's no implication about other sisters. Basically, I only have one sister. All right. So let's, we're going to do a little practice with this. We're going to see some more examples. Let's see. I'm going to have some volunteers to read. Noemi, can you read the first pair of sentences?
My brother who lives in Barcelona is rich. My brother who lives in Barcelona is rich.
Okay, so again, same thing. The first one implies that maybe you have more than one brother. The second one implies that probably you just have one brother. Good. And let's see, Jonathan, can you read the second pair of sentences?
The car that is parked outside the building is mine. My car, which is blue, is very expensive.
Good. So again, the first sentence, we are defining the car parked outside. We're defining which car exactly is mine. And the second one, we're just giving some extra information. By the way, it's blue. All right. And let's see, Alejandro, can you read the next pair of sentences?
Yes. He gave me the letter which was in a blue envelope. He gave me the letter that was in a blue envelope.
Good. So in the first one, there was only one letter. And by the way, it happened to be blue. In the second sentence, there were many letters, multiple letters. But we're talking about the blue one, not the red one or the yellow one or the green one, the blue one. All right. And the last one, Rocio, can you read the last pair of sentences?
Yes, his brother, who works at the supermarket, is a friend of mine. His brother who works at the supermarket is a friend of mine.
Good. Again, in this one, his brother who works at a supermarket, he has multiple brothers, several brothers. I'm talking about the one that works at the supermarket, that one. And in this one, I'm just giving some extra bonus information. Okay? All right, so it's a little bit advanced practice here. We're gonna try to identify what is the correct sentence. Choose which of these sentences is correct. Should we use a defining clause or a non-defining clause? For each sentence, you have a clue. Okay, so let's do this first one together and try to figure it out. Okay, so you have two houses. Sentence A, my house that is in Miami is very expensive. B, my house, which is in Miami, is expensive. Which one tells me that maybe I have two houses?
B.
B, why B?
Because the detail is on my house.
What does everybody else think? Do you agree?
I think it's A,
You think it's A, why?
because I specify with a long subject that my house that is in Miami is very expensive.
Right. So correct. The answer for this one is A, because here I am defining which one, which means that if I have to define it, if I need to clarify, probably that means there's multiple. You get the idea? Again, this is a little bit tricky. Whereas in B, I'm just saying my house. So you have no idea that I have multiple houses. I just say my house. And so for most people, when you say my house, probably you only have one house. But if I say my house in Miami, my house in Colorado, my house in Paris, my house in New York, right? You understand that there are probably multiple.
Okay.
All right, let's do another one of these. All right, next one. You only have one sister. My sister who works in a hotel got a promotion. Oh, we already did this one, didn't we? Sorry. Skip this one. Next one. You have many pairs of shoes. The pair of shoes, which I bought yesterday, is my favorite. The pair of shoes I bought yesterday is my favorite. Which one implies that I have many pair of shoes?
Letter B.
B.
Again, good, letter B. Exactly. Because I'm defining that it's these ones. All right, let's do another one. There are several jackets in the room. The jacket which is on the coat stand is mine. The jacket that is on the coat stand is mine. Which one implies that there are many jackets?
B.
Yes, B. That implies that there are many jackets. I'm defining which one. All right. There are thousands of museums around the world. Okay. The museum that we visited on holiday is very interesting. The museum, which we visited on holiday, is very interesting.
A.
A, correct. This is the one that implies that there are many museums. I'm defining specifically which one for you. Okay, next. There are several houses on this street. The house that is at the end of the street is my friend's. The house, which is at the end of the street, is my friend's.
A.
Correct. A is the one that implies that there are several houses. Okay. There are 3 pictures on the wall. The picture that has mountains was painted by me. The picture, which has mountains, was painted by me.
A.
A, good. That one implies that there are multiple pictures. Correct. All right. You are talking about your father. My father who is very tall lives in the country. My father, who is very tall, lives in the country.
B.
B, because we assume you only have one father. Maybe you have multiple fathers, but
Yes, it's possible.
possible. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Totally. It's ambiguous. Okay, there are 2 televisions. The television that is in the bedroom is a widescreen. The television, which is in the bedroom, is widescreen.
A.
A, right. That one implies that there are multiple televisions. Right. Everyone in the room owns keys. So everyone in the room owns keys. The keys, which are on the table, are mine. The keys that are on the table are mine.
B.
B, right? Because if I say everyone has keys, there are many keys, multiple keys. So in B, I'm defining which ones. Okay, you only have one mobile phone, cell phone. My cell phone, which was very cheap, works surprisingly well. My cell phone that was very cheap works surprisingly well.
A.
A.
Right, because I only have one. Excellent. All right, I think that's the last one. Yes, good. All right, so now that you understand relative clauses a bit more, your homework is to do some writing. Now, this is kind of a longer homework assignment, so I want to start it together in class so that you don't have so much homework. Maybe you can even finish it right now, I don't know. Okay, so we're going to start this now, and then you can finish it later if you want, but you can type on your computer or write in your notebook. You're going to describe in detail a person, place, or thing that is very special to you. Someone or some place or something that you love and has a special significance for you. I want you to write half a page, at least 8 sentences. You must use 2 relative clauses. Try to incorporate one defining and one non-defining relative clause somewhere in your writing, okay? And then, so we're gonna start it now, and then when you finish, you can email it to me before class tomorrow, all right? So I wanna use the time remaining in the class, 15 minutes, to start this. Maybe you can finish right now, possibly. Maybe not. Okay, I'm here if you have any questions, if you have like vocabulary questions, or if you want to check something, I'm available and you just let me know. All right.
Teacher, is in a paragraph or in different sentences?
You can write one paragraph.
Okay.
You're only writing about one thing, not all of those things. You choose one.
Yes.
Yeah. Paragraph is fine. Okay, guys, so you're probably still working, but when you finish, you can email it to me tomorrow sometime. Email your writing to me so I can try to check it before we have class. Try to underline your two relative clauses so I can find them easily. And that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you.
Have a good
Okay.
evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.